You don't realize what you have until you've lost it. That's an idea suggesting that we tend to take things for granted. Certainly, growing up, we learn to appreciate this or that, and coming to appreciate the little things in life. But a commonplace occurrence is that we haven't fully comprehended and fully realized what is there until we notice the void left in its absence. It isn't uncommon for children of immigrants to lose touch with some of their culture if they don't participate in it. And especially for those like me who are the grandchildren of immigrants, and from only one side of the family, no less. Growing up, I didn't think much about my Mexican heritage, even though my mother tried hard to make it so, and despite the fact that I interacted very often with her side of the family, who are entirely ethnically Mexican. As such, I never learned as much Spanish as I should have, and tough times came too soon for me to fully appreciate all of the family that I did have. I used to visit the town my grandparents came from yearly, La Barranca de Santa Clara in Jalisco, located in central Mexico, once a year over summer break. It's a pretty reclusive and rural area, and the closest city is the municipal city of Socorro de Torres. The nearest metropolitan area is the state capital of Guadalajara, which is like an hour or so away, by car. As a child, you can't help but think those days are kind of boring. Growing up somewhat privileged with internet and all these things, and suddenly being in a rural town with limited internet availability, gas-powered boilers and stoves, and a TV that only speaks in Spanish, it's just the way a child feels. My grandparents didn't come to America from Mexico to get away from that life, but to provide opportunity for their children. My grandparents, Benito Arenas Zúñiga and Celia Arenas, came sometime during the 1960s, and then they founded La Elegante taco truck a couple of years later. For years they worked and they worked, but then they had 7 kids over the course of several decades. Later on, one of those kids opened up La Elegante restaurant in Chinatown. It's a wave of success that I don't think they necessarily intended, but that they got through their incredibly hard-working ethic. For a long time, that cultural connection didn't spark with me. And it was only until years later, after my grandfather had a debilitating stroke, that slowly took away his speech, his movement, and his ability to interact with his family and others over the course of several years, that I think I finally began to appreciate what I did have.
Benito Arenas, known to many as Don Benito, moved to Fresno from Los Angeles in the 80s.
In 2022, my grandfather passed away from his stroke. Well, from old age as well, but it was an opening experience, to say it in one way. It was the first time I had ever lost someone close to me. And it was especially eye-opening for the cultural side of me. I had the opportunity to speak at his wake here in the United States, and I wrote it and gave it in Spanish, and it was the closest that I had felt to him, in a way, in a long time, because he had a stroke over 10 years ago by that point. And after that, 3 weeks later, we had his funeral in the town that he was born in. And I got to experience how the funerary customs they had. And it made me realize, I guess, just what I was missing. But now I'm trying to appreciate more of what I do have. Is it because of my grandfather? Is it because I'm older? It's definitely a question. It's hard to answer. I loved him, of course. And it was my first experience with that loss. but through it I saw the profound effect that he had on others as a person. The entire town came out for his funeral in Mexico, and even here in the US, hundreds of people showed up to celebrate his life. And that's the kind of thing that I don't want to lose. I just hope that I can do as I do and try my best to appreciate everything that I have now, more so that I don't lose those feelings and memories, so that I can continue connecting with people in such a way, so that I never ever forget the culture that has influenced me so and that I was raised into.